All right, how we doing, everyone? So back here in Benny Boy's garage after a little hiatus. A couple things have changed. You'll notice that side of the garage is empty. Unfortunately, Clyde is no longer with us. It's a good Miata, and made some good, decent money on selling him. So the plan is to save up my money for next year, get another Miata. But in the meantime, I'm going to focus on the Speed 3. So to bring it back, about a few days ago, maybe last week, my buddy Dano was in town with a 2019 Golf R. And I'll be honest with you, the Speed 3 took an L. It did. We did a 40 roll. We both had some shit in the car, but his car was weighed down even more than my car. You know, this is stock, right? I mean, it's got an intake and an exhaust, but it's not tuned for it. So she's running rich, and she would benefit a lot from a tune. So it's 2020, not just so many genders there. It could be a he, could be a car. I don't know. Regardless, in order to go fast, though, on this car before the tune, old Benny Boy, he's got to pop in some Corksport high-pressure fuel pump internals, because it's fun to go fast, but it's even more fun not to blow your shit up. So, this is part one of what we call Operation Chop Dan, okay? He did not beat me by a landslide. Maybe, a car or so. But what actually happened was, from a 60 roll, every time I grab Jesus. I gotta get a beer in my hand here. Every time I would grab a gear, he'd inch up on me. Inch up. And then on the top end, he got me by about a car. So, respectable. That car's got a bit more power than mine. So, like I said, this is part one of Operation Chop Dan. We're going to get the fuel pump upgraded. I got a freak tune and a cob access port on the way. My last Speed 3 was a beast. That had downpipe, intake, turbo inlet pipe, high pressure fuel pump, kind of basics, and some sort of an exhaust. Playing with this is I'm going to get it what I would call like Stage 1 plus, right? Not that anyone talks in stages anymore. But basically, we're going to just tune it for the mods it has. Flat foot shifting should fix that that lag in between shift problem. Do 18 or 20 pounds, something like that on the stock KO4. And the best part of this is going to be sandbagging, sort of. Part of the hustle, right? Where next time we line up, Dan's going to have a lot of confidence that he's going to beat me, okay? But little does he know that I'm putting this stuff in the car. So, we're going to keep that on the down low, okay? Might even hide my tuner out of the way, but we'll see. The access port, that is. So, I'll check back with you in a minute. I've done this once before. This is my one night to do it. That was 5 years ago, and I had help. I'm going to let her rip. I got some new tools today from Harbor Freight, like my nice bench vise and some bits and whatnot back there. So I will check back with you in a minute when we start tearing into this bad boy. Peace. Update, boys. We're about half an hour, 45 minutes into this. Intercooler cover off. Batteries out. Just kind of setting stuff over there. Battery box and ECU came out. So basically, I vented the fuel pump. So this is the guy we're trying to get to right here. He's driven by the cam. So yeah, I got the fuel lines loose on him. You're really supposed to crack the 19 millimeter first. But the car is quite hot, so yes, I really shouldn't even be working on it yet with gas fumes and stuff. But that is the nut right there. So per the 5.5 Garage, shout out. Did an awesome install video. Corksport install, they left the battery in, but I really like this technique because I'm actually going to be able to sneak my wrench right under and get on that nut. That's what she said. Ooh. But anyhow, got this out. It helps that I've done this shit before, but it was about 5 years ago, so it's kind of coming back to me. I wanted to take a quick break to show you the importance of replacing your turbo inlet pipe. So it's kind of hard to see, but this plastic piece right where my Cobb short ram ends, this is your stock unit that goes down to the turbo, way down in there. And it is literally, like, it's hard to even explain how flat this thing is. Take a look at this guy. This is the width of him, right? It's like 1.5 inches, 2 inches wide. And it's this weird square shape. And it necks right down as it goes to the turbo. So the fact that I'm leaving this in instead of putting an intake in right away is just to show you like how much airflow improvement there is to be had, right? Like what I want to do is like the easiest path here. So short rim intake it came with, exhaust it came with. All I'm changing for hardware is the high pressure fuel pump, and I did a solid rear motor mount from Damon. So what I'm getting at is when we get serious, we're going to put in a real like 3.5-inch intake when we put a larger turbo in this one day. But this is going to be like stock plus mode, right? We're like the bare minimum to be out there chopping Golf R's, okay? So stay tuned, fam. Just wanted to show you that. We're going to try to crack that nut loose. And we do have a beer ski now. Wish I didn't say beer ski. This is going to help the process go along much smoother, I think. So I'll check back soon. Peace. All right, Benny Boy is back, and there is the high pressure fuel pump moved from the car. So we finally got it out. This is kind of what we're dealing with, right? We got these 3 bolts, these E-Torques to hold it to the head. And then you have your actual spring and your tappet and your piston. Everything in here that gets spun up by the cam. And this thing does something like up to 2,000 PSI of gasoline to the fuel rail, being a direct injected engine, so serious fuel pressure. But not to get too much into how he works, I want to show you kind of the process of getting it out before we slap it in this, my nice new bench vise that I've got sketchily nailed down. That'll work for now. Okay, so the biggest thing that helped get this out was removing this valve cover breather dealio. It's kind of a pain. You got these two green tabs click in here, and that's what holds this guy in place. You gotta get kind of by your pipe that goes down to your turbo. You gotta get one screwdriver on the back and one on the front, and basically that will allow you to finally pop this out, and then he can just hinge over. Once I did that, I was able to get in and easily access those E-Torques. So what we're looking at here is basically the dowel pin to help align it, your 3 Torques that hold the pump on this way, and then down in there is that 19 millimeter nut. It's kind of like a swage lock fitting type dealio. The biggest advice you can do, or you can get on this, is you can see that little black dealio in there. That is a zip tie. So putting a zip tie under that nut stops the nut from falling down way under behind the engine. You will not have a good day if that nut gets away. Ooh, that's a nice rhyme. So a little bit of oil seeps out of there, and then the flat bucket thing that's driven by the cam is still in there. Hopefully, nothing came out. I did notice that 19 millimeter came out pretty loosely. So I'm going to take a quick break here before I dive into it and see what a stock fuel pump internals looks like. I'm going to replace it probably regardless because I don't know. I don't trust somebody else's install job, and I've already bought the Corksport internals. But the whole problem with this is there's no way to tell what internals you have, if they're stock, if they're Autotech, if they're CPE, if it's Corksport, unless one, you blow your engine up because it's inadequate, or if you take this out of the car. So the way I roll is if I'm going to take the time to take this out of the car, I'm going to have new parts to put in. Otherwise, it's just kind of a waste of time. So I'm going to do a quick little bit of research. I'm almost pretty certain that this is OEM. And it's a good thing we're changing it. So anyhow, we'll get back to you soon. We're going to clean this up in good shape, and we will be in the vise next, replacing the actual internals. All right, here we are. I have not taken the time to go look and see if these are originals or not. I think they are. What I did notice is look at all this shit that was on there. Bunch of grime all up in there. Same thing down inside the piston there. There's a bunch of shit, man. If you get that in your friggin' fuel injectors, son of a biscuit, you have a bad time. So it is good I am doing this. Because in addition to being the OEMs, they're actually really friggin' dirty anyways. This car only has like 47,000 miles on it. Alright, so anyhow, digging into it now. This is kind of the hard part where, or not the hard part necessarily, but the part where you have to get it right. It's something to do with removing this top tappet, taking this beast out, cleaning up the seal screw, cleaning up that O-ring. Look how fine those threads are. So when you're putting this in, you're actually fighting spring pressure. And it'd be very easy to cross thread this bad boy. So that is the last thing we're going to do, hopefully. So now I'm going to really look at the instructions and put this together right. All right, boys and girls, here we go. All right, boys and girls. We just finished putting it together. So it's one of those deals where you're not really sure what you're doing when you're doing it, but you just kind of follow each step. This little tool helped in this little sleeve. Basically, you just got to put like a tappet, it's called. It's kind of like a rivet almost, where you hammer it on, and then it keeps the spring, I think, keeps the spring seated on there. So this is what the finished product looks like. It's going back into the vise now. You can't really see the little dealie I put in the bottom, but new piston, new spring, new tappet. So it's really that diameter of that piston in there that really makes the big difference on fuel flow. So when I was in there, or before I put it back together, I kind of cleaned out everything with the Q-tips. Here's the old stuff. So I think we're coming pretty good. Gonna put it back together, and then slapping it back in the car should be a breeze. Still gotta take it easy, you know. I don't want to get too ahead of myself here and drop a bolt or something. I don't even know where that third dealie is. There he is. Look at, I'm already losing stuff. But anyhow, I'm only like hour and a half, 2 hours in right now. I've definitely been taking my time, so we're gonna have the car back operational tonight for tomorrow morning. Pick up my girl. So, you know, this is definitely a project you can do in a night if you're mechanically inclined. If not, you definitely want some friends who want to do it on the weekend or have some alternate transportation. I did have to use this breaker bar to get the stock guy out. It's in there pretty good, and I got to put the new one in at 40 foot-pounds of torque. But I think we're coming along here pretty well. So next, I will be putting this back in the car. I'm gonna really oil this guy up in good shape, so that way it doesn't bind at all going in, because it's super important that you put it back in square. All right, so that is it. I will check back soon. Wu-Tang. All right, boys, we are back. And this greasy phone you're seeing is the phone I've been filming on. Got my burner out for this. So OBD2 to torque. I'm getting my access port tomorrow. Car is idling terrifically. Got my fuel pressure and my rail is nice, right around 430-ish. Right online, it should be around, 400-ish. And then when we give her the beans, it should go up to, 1600, 1850. So watch, I'm gonna goose her a little bit. No problem. I'm gonna go ahead and say that we got some fuel pressure, boys. So, like any mod, I'm gonna kind of button it up and then take the car for a little rip. Hope I don't blow the car up. And we are getting our access port tomorrow with our freak tune. Gonna put a little freak juice on her, you know what I'm saying? So he does an awesome job. My last Speed 3 had a freak tune on it, and that car's an animal. So Tomorrow should be an exciting day. I got some spark plugs installed, which obviously would have been better to do right about now because I'm already in there, but oh well. I'll slap the spark plugs in. Thinking about doing it tomorrow before I put the tune on. That's what I should do. Really don't want to, but because I'm kind of excited just to put the tune on, but that's how you blow shit up. So I'll put in the spark plugs, and then we will come back when we are doing some pulls tomorrow with a tune. That's probably it for tonight, unless I do a quick little video of it driving. Alright, boys and girls, peace. Alright, coming to you live, Benny Boy. So, we're just cruising around, hardly any throttle. You can see right here, it's measuring a nice 14, 15, 16, right, if I give it any gas. So basically, I'm just kind of out driving around, nothing crazy. I've got my fuel rail pressure, and I've got my AFRs. So I'm just gonna get after it here once we get fully up to temperature, and just see if there's any weirdness going on, right? We're gonna listen for noises. When I get back, I'm gonna smell for gasoline. Same thing, if you smell, it's good to run like your AC or your heater, because it's 50 and dropping, you know, it was 30 this morning. And just smell for gas, right? Just kind of common sense stuff. If you smell gas, stop. And yeah, so we should be good. This is the paid version of Torque. It's real nice. We'll put the phone down here in a minute just in case the dude behind me is a cop. I do not want to get hands-free law issue going on. Yeah, so I will report back with how this goes, and I'll do a data log or two. I did a data log before I put these in, and I'm pretty sure it logs everything, even if you don't have the display up. So I'm going to kind of just do a quick comparison of the fuel rail pressure, see if there's any delta there, right? If there's any, that's the fancy word for if there's any difference, right? Yeah, and we'll see what the data looks like. Alright, so did a couple pulls, and take a look at that fuel pressure. You really don't want much more than 1850. Claims that we went a little over 1980. I don't know if we did or not. If you're juicing it like that, you might get a little bit of noise. I don't know. Regardless, we got oodles of fuel to spank that Golf R next time, boys. You know we don't play that shit. So, got good old Torque cruising down here. Got all this. Heading back home, and we're feeling good, man. I might even do a little vacuum on the car, armor all it, just get it feeling real nice and clean tomorrow. Leave it filthy on the outside, right? Don't want to give anything away. That should be it. A couple things that people won't tell you about this little install is all your shit gets reset. So like my clock's wrong, you lose all your radio stuff, right, from unplugging your battery. You have to relearn your automatic window, stuff like that. So anyhow, Benny Boy brings you right into depth, okay? That's it. So thanks for sticking with me. If you liked it, send me a like. Hit the subscribe button. I do a lot of music and Mazda shit. And I keeps it real. Alright.